Warning. The following presentation is rated TVMA for language, sexual situations, and violence. Some viewers may find the following content disturbing and controversial. Viewer discretion is advised. Nuremberg was a series of trials held in Nuremberg, Germany in 1945 to 1946, in which former Nazi leaders were indicted and tried as war criminals by the International Military Tribunal. The indictment lodged against them contained 4 counts. 1. Crimes against peace, i.e., the planning, initiating, and waging of wars of aggression in violation of international treaties and agreements. 2. Crimes against humanity, i.e., exterminations, deportations, and genocide. 3. War crimes, i.e., violations of the laws of war. And 4. A common plan or conspiracy to commit the criminal acts listed in the first 3 counts. The tribunal was given the authority to find any individual guilty of the commission of war crimes, counts 1 through 3 as previously stated, and to declare any group or organization to be criminal in character. If an organization was found to be criminal, the prosecution could bring individuals to trial for having been members, and the criminal nature of the group or organization could no longer be questioned. Hip-hop started as a genre to give a voice to the voiceless and highlight not only who we as a people were, but the struggles we were going through, and it was used as the vehicle to fight the oppression and fight the negative stereotypes and fight and rage against the machine, no pun intended. Hip-hop infected the world in so many positive ways, but when foreign agents and foreign players, i.e. people who are not from the culture, came into our culture. And I say people who are not from the culture, people who wanted to only cause death and destruction to us as a people, as a genre, for whatever their gain would be, whether it be a personal gain, whether it be their personal agendas, corporate agendas.
So why sign an artist that would promote that?
Because I already answered that question. You weren't paying attention. She asked me talent or issues, and I said talent. But I have to. I can't give up on people.
But I'm saying that's hypocritical, though. You're saying
it's opportunistic.
Yeah.
I got people to feed. I got a business to run.
You're gonna make Dame Dash take this clip and call you a culture vulture.
Who's Dame Dash? You brought him up. I don't even know him. So you bring his name up. I don't even know him. So
y'all made a lot of money together.
Made a lot of
Come
money.
on, Leo. Don't do that to him.
I don't know him. I really don't. So, I don't know what to tell you.
Everybody decided they were going to have their hand in it because where a lot of these places started, they had to have foreign agents be the people to push it because it can only go so far when you are the person on the ground doing all of the work. A vehicle that started out as a positive movement, even though the positive movement was highlighting oppression, highlighting drugs, highlighting all of these things, we still maintained the balance of being able to fight against the oppressor, fight against racism, fight against injustices. And hip hop actually took it upon itself to not just fight for itself, but it gave a voice to every group and every movement, a part of every single thing. As we progress down the line, hip-hop has been bastardized, its history has been skewed and torn up, and the corporate entities have walked through the door and decided that they were going to take the worst parts of who we were, the worst parts of what we do, the lowest of the low on the totem pole, and make that the image of what we are. Hip-hop has evolved into filth. Not only as of this recording right now, we have children out here rapping about killing each other, children committing crimes, children doing adult activities. We have adults encouraging that behavior. We have hip-hop and rap music being the #1 most dangerous occupation on the planet right now, without question. We've had more rappers die in the last 3 years than we've had hip-hop deaths span from the previous years all put together. And that is because we have lost our message and we have lost our way. I'm not the person that is going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm here to tell you that the time for talking is over. We have done enough talking. We have done enough marching. We've tried to link up with groups that want to be on the activist side. We've tried to talk to people and do all the soft stuff, and none of it has worked. When we have people out here turning your daughters into whores, children twerking on tables, and adult men posting that and saying, "That's my fan. Oh, that's funny. That's not my daughter. I don't care." Your 13-year-old son gets gunned down in Washington, D.C. because of a carjacking or something like that. When you have executives saying, "That's not my business. That has nothing to do with me. I'm just here to make the music. I didn't know what was really going on." We cannot have peace. I brought up Nuremberg because hip hop needs its Nuremberg. We are beyond just being able to sit and watch the world burn. We have media that is out here that claims to be on our side, and as soon as something happens and we hold them to the fire, they say, "I'm just the media." When we hold them accountable, they come out and they say, "It's just entertainment." They laugh and they snicker when things, go awry because they're so disconnected from the culture. It's just a payday for them because, let's just face it, most of the people in this culture have sold the culture out. I would never tell you to do what you do for free because I don't do what I do for free. But these people are legitimate parasites where it's a video game to them. It's not real to them once they get off their phone, but they never get off their phone. But once they get off their phone, it becomes something, they're completely displaced from it because our poverties, our pains, our dysfunctions, they decided that they were going to use that as the vehicle to make themselves and their families prosperous, while the rest of us are left picking those pieces up. We are past the point of peace. Peace is something that we cannot have. Just like at the end of the World War, I think it was World War II. At the end of World War II, when they decided that we're going to round everybody up and we're going to give them a trial and we're going to put them on trial, and everyone who is found guilty is executed, and we don't just round up the head figures. They started with the head figures, and there were multiple Nuremberg trials, but we'll get to that in a second. I want to talk about a few things before we actually get into what we actually have to do, because we are not in a situation where we can afford to allow these viruses and these cancers to continue to permeate through our community, because they have hoarded our children out, they've hoarded themselves out, and they're whoring, the rest of us out for pennies on the dollar. Everyone is corrupted. It's not just one group. It's not just one person. And we, as people of sound mind and sound body and focus and integrity and morality, we are beginning to be outnumbered. We might be outnumbered by sheer numbers of cowards, but we are not outnumbered with brain power and what we could do, because we have already seen that these people, because they are so disgusting and despicable on the inside, they are not willing to go past the line of just talking, because as soon as you stand up fast, because my mother has this thing where if somebody is approaching you and they're approaching you in an aggressive manner, just stand up fast and the whole system and the whole attitude changes. Because we're in this situation where all we have to do is stand up fast and they start to back down and they sit back down, we can get a lot accomplished, but we're not going to get a lot accomplished until we decide that we are tired of this. The first thing I want to say is, if you are some type of person who likes to bully people, if you're a gangster, a street person, just a loud mouth, whatever, you think you're tough, that stops here. Your toughness doesn't mean anything. You can be murdered like anybody else can be murdered, and you will be held accountable. You're not tough. You're not a gangster. You're not a street person. You're a person who needs to be put in some type of therapeutic service to get your act together, because we're not going to be tolerating any of that anymore. Because it's not like you're going out here and fighting the oppressor. It's not like you're going out here and fighting people who need to be fought. You are brutalizing people to make yourself feel better. You're going out and looking for whatever the reflection is of you so you can hurt that person, instead of trying to be in a community like state. We don't have to get along with everybody. We don't have to like everyone, but we will not allow anyone, no matter what you call yourself or what you label yourself, we will not allow any of you to continue to terrorize our communities, bastardize our children, terrorize and put out images of us that we no longer accept. That is over. And if you think you're bad, we'll put you down even faster. We just have to go that way with this, because there's no way we're going to be able to solve this problem if we don't start on the ground level. The second thing is, we all know right from wrong. There's a time in your life where something goes off on the inside of you where you realize something's not right and I have to fix it. This is why people will tell you you don't get your life together until you're in your 40s or until you're in your 30s, and that's just simply not true. You get your life together when you realize your life needs to be together. A lot of other people come from head starts or whatever thing you want to say. You know the difference between right and wrong. We are no longer accepting any type of excuse. That's just the way it is. It's not going to work. Product of my environment, it's not going to work. They don't know no better. It's not going to work. That's all they were taught. It's not going to work. Children may be able to be saved, but the rest of you, if you come to us with an excuse, you will be sent on your permanent vacation as well. Because there's no room for that. The nerve of you to open your mouth and tell us whatever, you put a limiter on yourself. And if you want to limit yourself, that's fine. It doesn't matter if you want to limit yourself. When you limit yourself, you're just waiting on death to come and collect. And if you want to die, that's fine. But telling everybody else and infecting everybody else with your death culture, we're not having it anymore. We don't, if you want to self-delete, that's all on you. But you don't get to infect other people with that. And the people who have a fighting chance with issues we can actually fix, we're going to fix them. And you will be dragged kicking and screaming. It's not going to be a situation where you get an option. You don't. There are no options. But we'll talk about that in a few. We have to take responsibility for this culture, and not just the people perpetuating it, but us. The people who allow these people to keep perpetuating these things. And the reason I say we have to take responsibility, because these people ruin our image. These people ruin our reputations. These people ruin everything for us. Twerking in the street, being walked by dogs, all these ignorant things. They come out and they are saying, hey, I am the representative of you. They are not the representative of us. Again, permanent vacations for all non-compliers. If there's any non-compliance, permanent vacation. We cannot allow these people, that's them, that's whatever, because they put us all in danger, because nobody is sitting and deciphering who's who. And the last thing is, everything starts at home. The best thing you can do for your community is help yourself. The best thing you can do for your house is have your life intact. It's very ridiculous to try to start in the middle and work your way up. It's very ridiculous to try to start all the way at the top of the mountain with the mythical white man or whoever you want to, put anybody on the list. You can name and rattle off anyone of any place, of any race, of any whatever. Name them. It doesn't make sense to start up there when all of the issues we have are right here. And the one thing you can fix is yourself. And you can fix yourself right now. Why? Because you know the difference between right and wrong, and you're not going to make an excuse as to why you cannot be fixed. The only people that cannot be fixed are the people who will not comply. But we will talk about that again in a few seconds. We do not need to be worrying about things that are so far out of our reach for right now. Because those things that are up there, all above our heads and all above up in the sky, in the metaverse, or wherever they are, That does not change what's happening down here, and it doesn't change what's happening in here. We change this, we change this, we change what's around us, then we start working our way up. The first part of cleaning this up is everybody must be called. Every single person must be called. And you have to stand face to face with us at the base level. That means the parents, the teachers, the media, the artists, the fans, the supporters, the bystanders, collaborators, conspirators, corporations. Everybody is getting indicted because everybody is playing a role. Is everybody guilty? Everybody might not be guilty, but we don't have time to pick who's not and who's whatever and just doing it like this. Everybody's going to be called and everybody's going to be held accountable. If you're a parent and you're not doing the right thing, you have to go. If you are a conspirator or a person that's going to be soft on these people, you have to go. There's no place for you here. We cannot do anything with one side being severely aggressive and pushing their agenda and the other side laying over, bending over and taking whatever, or thinking that any of these mentalities and any of these atrocities, because this is what these things are, declarations of atrocities, any of these atrocities are forgivable, can be reformed, can be worked out, can be talked about, can be talked out. Absolutely not. We are past that point. There is nothing we can do for people who have already made their mind up. There's nothing we can do for people whose brains is already scrambled eggs. This is where it gets, everybody starts to run. Because this has to be get down or lay down. You don't get an option. Those who can be saved, but they refuse to be saved, you will be laid down. All non-compliers will be laid down. It cannot go any other way. Because we don't have time for people who might turn, people who you got scared, and it makes you understand every day why Harriet Tubman was knocking them babies out. And knocking people out, knocking babies out because you'll give us away, and knocking people out who thought they were going to turn and go back because you might give us away. There's only one way to take control of it. You're going to get down or you're going to get put down. Get down or lay down. It's simple as that. Everybody, no matter what you've done, we're going to list everything that you've done. Flat out. It's not going to go any other way. If you got a YouTube page, we're going to see what you've been putting up. If you got a Facebook page, we're going to see what you've been promoting. We're going to see what kind of comments you've been making if you're just a bystander. Don't think you get away from this just because you're an artist. They're going first, but the supporter is going next. Because if you support the type of people who put out Pound Town, and you support the type of people that put out images of children, because what adults do, there's going to be a consequence for it. But when you go to the extreme and pass entertainment, and you don't allow entertainers to just entertain, and you decide that it's going to be more, the entertainment is going to be real life, and everybody should be subject to this, but then I'm going to boo-hoo and cry when somebody steals something from me or takes something from me, it's going to be listed there. And this is when you're going to get your trial, whether you're going to be on that permanent vacation or you're going to be in life in prison, because a lot of y'all need to be in prison for life. You don't necessarily need to be executed. You need to be in prison forever. So, because we do need examples, but we're not going to have any change in any reform without bloodshed. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's not. You will never get change, or we are past the point of talking it out again. Bloodshed. Everything and everybody must go. If you think it's funny to encourage somebody's addiction, you must go. If you think that harming children, harming vulnerable people, picking on people that's weaker than you, picking on people that have less than you, if you think that's okay, permanent vacation. It's no place for you here. It's nothing we can do with you. If you are found guilty, we execute you. Straight up and down. It's nothing. You can't be reformed. You can't be changed. You've made your mind up to be a parasite. You decided that your life was going to end and you were just going to wait for the reaper to collect. How do we fix the people who can be fixed? Because low self-esteem can be fixed. Addiction can be fixed. Lack of discipline, that can be fixed. Any of these addictions and all these things, all these little trivial things, depression and whatever, put anything there you want to. It can be fixed. Therapists, counselors, complete scrubbing of people's brains, emptying their brain bag and filling it with something else, law, order. These kind of things will fix this. And don't think that the hip-hop Nuremberg is just one time, because there were multiple Nuremberg trials. It was actually 13. That's how they rounded every single person and every collaborator up. Every conspirator, if you thought about it. This will be an ongoing until the end of time thing. Not just one time. Till the end of time. And the punishment is going to be harsher. Because after we have to do the big one, if you decide you want to perpetuate things that harm our society, and you want to perpetuate things that you claim are not entertainment, it's going to be severely volatile for you. No life in prison. Straight to the permanent vacation. This is what's going to change this genre. Because this genre is beyond anything that we can talk to and tell people at this point. It's not going to be anything other than this. It can't be. The images that we see, the things that we allow, the things that we let slide, it's nothing that, it's just nothing that can be said, nothing that we can hug in whatever way, and don't think it's just going to be the artist. All of you people who opened your mouth and bashed the things that were supposed to help us, open your mouth and said stupid things like, I don't need to go to therapy because they don't know me. I don't need to go to counseling because you don't know what I'm going through. You are not some type of anomaly. You are not special. You are just like everyone else. There's nothing new under the sun. The problem didn't start with you. You're not alone with what you're going through. But you will be alone in your grave if you decide to poison our community with your self-hate. We cannot allow this stuff no more, y'all. No. This is what will change the genre. And what will change the culture and get the culture back intact. And it might sound crazy to, hey, do you really have to execute people? Yes. Do we really have to get people out of here? Yes. Do we really have to jump people and beat them up and beat sense into them? Yes. Like, there is no other way to do it. Because when we tried to talk to them, they didn't care. When we tried to do fundraisers, they didn't care. When we tried to do positive movements, they didn't care. So now it's time for the harsh movement. Now it's time for the violent movement. Because a lot of these people, they only want to do the violence when it's people that's not really into the violence. I am into the violence. And I'm into the violence if it's going to get us to where we need to be, because I have a unique understanding that it's not going to be no other way. That's the only thing that's respected, and that's the only thing that gets people to change, and that's the only way we're going to clean this up. The last thing I want to add is there will be no dual allegiances. If you do not pledge allegiance to this side in this culture, you don't have a place that you can come back to. You are essentially an orphan. It is season finale over for you, 100%. And we will not bend on that. It is not flexible. Point blank, period. That is it. Because a lot of the times the problem we have is we kick somebody out of this society and they go over to another society and become a useful idiot. And then they get sent back over here to us and they dismantle everything that we put in work for and everything that we sacrificed and we put the foundations down for. But if they don't have anywhere to go, because once you leave, you cannot come back. If your allegiance is to someone else or something else, you cannot come back. They're just going to be left to wither on the vine. This episode was sponsored by Xavier Landon, Brian Tisdale, and Colorado Rick.